Let's stack that gold here. I thought I'd make a video inspired by Tui Tui that I watched in regards to etiquette when you go to a coin shop. So I got this idea from her, and I thought I'd just talk to you guys about my own experience going into LCSs and the first time I went into an LCS and some experiences that I've had and things that you can use when you go to an LCS to avoid common mistakes and to try to get you guys a little bit better deals when you go there. So most of my bullion when I originally started stacking I had purchased online, either through forums or online vendors, and I didn't start going to LCSs or shops until maybe about a year ago. I was kind of intimidated actually, thinking about going in there, and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know exactly if I would need to negotiate, how to negotiate, the proper way to talk to them, and just a lot of little things that I've heard watching other channels, how you should act and what to do when you go into an LCS, what to look for when you're buying. So I basically started watching some videos on YouTube, and I kind of felt confident enough to go into an LCS. I was actually quite intimidated to go into an LCS. I went in the first time, I looked around, I saw they had some things I was familiar with, and I basically just bought a couple of things. Now, when you go into an LCS for the first time, let's say if it's a new LCS or you've never been to an LCS before, what you want to do, as Tuli Tuli mentioned, is you want to have cash. Most bullion dealers like to deal in cash. They don't like to deal in credit card or other forms of payment. Now, I don't know if for whatever reason it's more convenient for them. They're trying to avoid taxes. I don't know why, but most bullion dealers like dealing in cash, so that would probably be the first thing. The second thing is when you go into an LCS, you shouldn't, the proprietor might size you up, might look at you, what you're wearing, determine what you might be willing to spend. So my advice is go in there looking as gross and disgusting as possible. Don't wear your best clothes. Don't look like you have a lot of money. And maybe you're carrying a couple $1,000s and they're not going to know that right off the bat. What you want to do is you want to give the impression that you don't have a lot of money to spend. Maybe you don't have a lot of money to spend. Either way, whether you do or you don't give them the impression that you have a lot of money and you're willing to spend a lot, because they're probably just going to give you a worse price. That is a tip, I think. So when I went into the LCS, I just bought a couple things and that was it. I started going into other LCSs. I was a bit intimidated by some of them sometimes. So when you go in, just go in with a poker face. Don't show any excitement. Don't show any nervousness. If you're interested in an item, don't act like you're very interested, especially if there are no prices marked on the item. If there are prices marked on the item, that's another story. But either way, don't act excited about an item when you go in there. Go in there, be as pretty serious as you can be. Talk to them, converse with the proprietor, let them know what you're interested in. But if you see something you're interested in, they show you something you might be interested in, don't give them that impression that you're willing to pay basically anything for the item. I always say know what you want to stack. I think it's really important. I'm seeing a lot of channels now question their stacking strategy and what they're stacking. I've never done that before. I know exactly what I want. Sometimes things come out of nowhere that I wasn't expecting to buy, and I do buy those instead. I'm fortunate enough to have the means to do that. But that's not always the case for a lot of people. A lot of people don't always have the funds to buy what they want. They buy stuff maybe because it has a lower premium than something that they really want. They can't afford it right now. So before you even go into the LCS, have a budget and know exactly what you want to buy. Let's say you go into an LCS and you're intending to buy a 1 ounce silver round, just a generic round, but then you happen to see, let's say, a Britannia, and you kind of want a Britannia, but maybe it's $2 or $3 more than you're looking to really want to spend. You should always try to stick to your budget and stick to what you originally intended on purchasing, because when you purchase something that you originally did not want, sometimes you have buyer's remorse. You say, oh, I might have spent too much money on that. Oh, did I really want that to begin with? I saw it and it looked cool, and I basically just bought it because it looks nice. And I've done that before. I bought a coin where it was very unique. I've never seen it before. It had a holographic sticker on it, and I thought, oh wow, this is a really cool coin. And I buy it from a person who I've done a lot of business with before, and I thought, okay, I don't care how much it is, I'm just gonna buy it. I just go home, and it turns out it's like $20-$30 cheaper on eBay. So my advice is to know exactly what you want to buy, know how much it's going for online, the open market, do your homework, make sure you're somewhat prepared for something. And that's why I say stick to what you want, because if you know if the coin shop has what you want and you know the price, great. This way you're not going to get ripped off if you know an estimate of what the item should cost. Another tip is, when you go into an LCS, know your spot price, because the spot price is changing rapidly. Sometimes you'll see a coin and there's no price on it. You ask them how much. They say, oh, this is $40. And the spot price is, let's say, $24. And you're wondering, why is there such a big markup on a coin like this? You know, maybe they're just taking advantage of you because they think you don't know what the spot price is, or for whatever reason, maybe they purchased it probably not at that high of a price. Dealers tend to sell and buy coins using the gray book value, so they tend to get better prices than the general public. So if they're charging you $40 for a coin that normally, let's say, maybe would cost $30, and when the spot price is $24, you have to go in there knowing that information. Or at least if you have a cell phone, look at your cell phone, look to see what they've sold for on eBay or what they're going for on a bullion dealer's website. So this way, this prevents you from getting ripped off. I've gone into a coin shop before, and he's like, oh, this coin is $5 over spot. The spot price was, let's say, $23.80. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna charge you $29 for the coin. I said, hold on a minute. The spot price is $23.80, so you're gonna charge me an extra 20 cents? I'm not saying it's a lot of money, guys, but it's your hard-earned money. And if you're buying, let's say, 10, 20, 100,000 ounces of silver or gold, you know, that's going to add up. So you got to be careful when a dealer quotes you a price, and you got to make sure that they're charging you the right price. You look at the sales receipt, you double check, make sure. It's like making a list, checking it twice. You basically just have to check they're charging you the right amount, because these dealers think they're slick and they will round up in their favor and they will charge you more. I've unfortunately, I have encountered that at a very well-known LCS near me. Other thing is, you gotta, let's say you go into an LCS a couple times, you get comfortable with them, they get comfortable with you, you start asking them questions about coins, they see you're really interested in coins, maybe they'll give you a discount. It never hurts to ask, even the very first time you go into the coin shop. Let's say they're asking $30 for a coin, You say, can you do any better than that? Sometimes you say, you might say, this is my first time I'm in a coin shop. I've never really bought anything before. Can you make this occasion special? Can you give me a first time discount? Maybe they'll give you a discount. You never know. It never hurts to ask. So guys, whenever you go into a coin shop, whether it's your first time or not, ask to see if you could get a discount. A lot of times there is some wiggle room, especially if prices are soft or the item is not moving. You more often than not, you'll be able to get even just a little bit of a discount. So that brings me to what I was saying before. When you go into your LCS, you build a good rapport with them. They get to know you. Maybe they'll start on the regular giving you a discount. So it never hurts to ask, guys. So that brings me to another issue. After a while, you guys get comfortable, and for me personally, I had a bad experience with LCS. Let's just say, after a while, they didn't act professional, and they kind of, lied to me. You got to be careful, guys. These LCS dealers, they think they're your friend. You think they're your friend, but they're not. They're basically looking out for themselves. I'm not saying all or that many LCSs are like this, but they're in it for business, and sometimes they can be ruthless and say or do things that are not necessarily true or represent what they initially had stated. So you have to be very careful with who you're dealing with over time. If something doesn't feel right, my advice is to just cut the cord and leave. I've heard numerous stories on YouTube channels. People have been going to coin shops for years. There was a guy who had like maybe, I think it was like 1,000 ounces of silver, and the guy, just because he never heard of, it was a really well-known bullion company. The bars, they were legit. They had certificates, brand new in the packaging. And just because the guy didn't hear of the company, he didn't buy it from him. So he went to a coin shop down the street, and he never went to this guy again. And he had been going to him for, well over 5 years, and he had some issues, but never really any issue like that. He was a long-time customer. So you have to really look out for yourself, guys. You have to be very careful, because dealers will sometimes not have your best interest. So that's just my advice. Those are just a few of my experiences and tips. Again, always try to bring cash when you pay for bullion. Be on the lookout, do your research, know what coins or bars or rounds or whatever you're purchasing go for ahead of time. Try to stick to what you want to buy. If you see something that you're not familiar with the price, take a quick look online to see what they have sold for or they're selling for. And be careful when you're buying bullion. You have to be very careful and look out for yourself, guys, because even if you have a long existing relationship with your bullion dealer, you never know when they might try to pull a fast one on you or lie to your face or do something that is not appropriate. So that's just my advice, guys. I appreciate everyone watching. Thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, and as always, stack that gold.